Hello and welcome to Shades and Layers. I'm your host, Kutwanos Kosana Richie. And today we have a story about finding and pursuing new dreams, paying it forward, and most importantly, online fitness coaching. My guest is Stefanie Julia Moton, known among her clients as the Fitness Challenge Lady. She is the founder of the hybrid one-to-one and group fitness coaching brand, Catch Flights and Fitness, as well as a business coaching company for online fitness coaches, Profitable, Passion and Purpose, P3. Stefanie was working in federal law enforcement when she founded Catching Flights and Fitness for her community of 1,500 other frequent travelers. Her business became profitable very quickly, and soon she moved on to coaching other fitness and wellness entrepreneurs on how to do the same. Everything was fun and exciting with a high-paying job, a side hustle, and a busy travel schedule. And then the pandemic hit. And like many of us, Stefanie realized that while she loved her work in federal law enforcement, she was burnt out. And when things started slowly getting back to normal, she leaned more and more into what she had started with P3. And in January 2023, she became a full-time entrepreneur. In this conversation, you will hear how Stefanie Moton transformed her career and transitioned into her new journey, as well as how everything from the past connects to create this new path for her.
I am a business coach for fitness coaches who want to create, launch, and scale their online fitness coaching business.
Wonderful. So if in a nutshell you could describe that kind of work and the deeper meaning you attach to it.
Excellent. I actually love that question, just so you know. The deeper meaning, every time you say it, I'm like, I keep thinking of a phrase that one of my life coaches said to me years ago, and I have been saying it more and more nowadays, because it's not only a reminder for myself, but for my clients, is that you weren't given this purpose unless it was meant to take care of you. And I feel like it's my duty, it's my mission to show people how to monetize their passions, move in their purpose, and in a way that it's going to take care of not just your day-to-day expenses and bills, but your wildest dreams. So that's okay. So another phrase just came to me as soon as I said that, was like, I want to teach folks who look like me, move like me, how to print their own money.
Excellent. I love that. I love that. And I like that you mention life coaches that you have. So coaching is clearly something you're passionate about. Can you tell me how it came about in your life? How did you enter this coaching world?
Oh, it's that same life coach. I have to shout her out now. I've now mentioned her come up twice in this podcast. Her name's Catherine Searcy, and now she actually is she's known as the Retreat Maven. But back when I was working with her, she was getting really into life coaching. At the time, I didn't know what life coaching was or anything like that. I thought I was hiring a virtual therapist, honestly. Like, I was just like, I need somebody to talk to me.
Right.
And on the first session, she encouraged me to create what is now known as Catch Flights and Fitness, my online fitness coaching program.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was a passion of mine to coach others towards their fitness goals, but I didn't have a typical 9 to 5. I didn't have a consistent schedule. I was a special agent for Homeland Security investigations. So I couldn't, be trusted with a gym session. Like, right. You don't want me you don't want to count on me at that time to be anywhere for 1 hour, like in
right,
person.
Right.
So I knew like I had to figure out how to monetize the online space, and I had no clue. And she was very intuitive with me and kind of just encouraged me to explore and figure out how I could do it. And that's really like was the push, because whenever I got stuck, I would reach out, get educated, go to YouTube University, or hire a business coach did.
Okay. I love that. So have you always been into health and fitness, or is just something you needed because of your inconsistent schedule?
So I've always been into sports. So I was an
Hmm.
athlete all the way to elementary school. I don't think I've ever mentioned this to anyone, but my sister almost went into the Olympics for track and field.
What?
And so yeah, and
Cool.
I have sisters. Yeah, one of them was like right on the cusp of going to the Olympics. The other sister is a big athlete herself. We went to brunch and they had a basketball court and we couldn't pull her away from the basketball court this last Sunday. So like I've always been my brother won state championships for football in high school. So I've always been surrounded by
Mm,
athletes, my mom, my dad, everybody. So it was just a natural path because so I went to college. I was an athlete in college at the University of Miami. And then when I graduated, I had no coach. So that's where I
right.
gained a ton of weight in my job, not really having that consistent schedule like you mentioned. And I didn't I realized, I won't say early, I realized really late that it was because I was so used to having, ingrained accountability inside my lifestyle, always having a track and field coach or a basketball coach, practice schedule, and they were fun for me. So I created that same community again, and literally like over the years it became a business. So I kind
Okay.
of fell into
Right.
it.
Yeah, yeah. Wonderful. So when did you realize that you actually have a business? Who was paying you and how much and how often?
Oh man, when I realized, so during that time when I realized I needed like an accountability like squad, there was no partner, and so I had saw a number on a scale that I thought I would never see, and it wasn't. There was a bit of shame and embarrassment, but immediate action. I didn't sit still. Like I saw it and I moved, and I started to create challenges because I loved competition. I'm big on competition.
Hmm.
So I created challenges for my coworkers, my family, friends, and they weren't big challenges. They were like maybe $25 to $100, and well, some were like 3 weeks to like 6 months. And I was doing that for years and got addicted to it.
Oh,
But even my job paid me very well, so I could throw money at it, buy prizes for them, all that kind of stuff. And I was giving away thousands of dollars from just like the cash prize pot. And when I think the third or fourth, but the only way that I could get paid during this time was if I won a challenge. And I will tell you, very rarely I win a challenge. And so years went by actually before I realized, oh, there's money moving, a lot of money
just
moving
not towards you.
in this. Yeah, it's not mine, like it's not staying with me. And I started charging like admin fees, like $50
Mm,
for a challenge.
right.
And I was like, this is something no one's even paying attention to, like admin fees, all the mind trash of charging, thinking, well, I was charged, it was free before or whatever. Or not free, but like they didn't know I wasn't taking any part of that. I
Right.
asked my sister. So this is what really happened. I asked my sister, who now is a full time business owner, has a thriving business herself, went full time after working full time for someone else, and at the time she had just transitioned to being a full time entrepreneur. And I was like, yo, this is what I got going on. How do I monetize this? Like, how do I make money off of this? I really love what I'm doing. How do I make this into a business? And that girl said, just do it. And I was like,
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Right. But really, I got help. It took me a long time, but I got help. I hired a business coach that helped me create and launch. Catch Fights and Fitness is what I ended up creating. And really, like it feels like forever ago, but it's like the rest is history. Is
Right,
you like sucking in as much information as I could and implementing and integrating what made sense.
right. But this what you didn't immediately go fully into the business, right? You still carried on with your 9 to 5. When did you
Yeah.
take the leap into full-time entrepreneurship? And actually, maybe take me through the process of preparing for that transition into full-time entrepreneurship.
Oh, okay.
You're
All right. I'm looking.
gonna need to take a breath there.
Because it was a 3-year journey, and it
Mm.
wasn't like I honestly feel like a lot of people think, oh, I just I was making all this money and then I left and I hit the goals. I said, well, when I make this, I'm gonna transition out. I've even quit, and then a year and a half later, actually walked away. So I'm gonna tell you the story.
Okay.
For a short version of it. But it started in COVID. So before
Hmm.
COVID hit, you asked me, this was a retirement plan. Like it
Right.
wasn't, I was just going to, build the brand, really learn and set myself up so that I didn't have to work in retirement. I could do what I loved. But
Hmm.
what I I realized, but shortly thereafter, realized how long retirement was from that moment. I had
Oh.
at that time I had about 14 or 15 years left.
Oh.
And I was just like, yeah, that exactly that same feeling. So COVID, what the pandemic did for me was we weren't working. I was on detail in DC, and I literally everything shut down because what I did, you had to be in the office for. There was not like you had to be there because I worked in a very secure area and they didn't let
Hmm.
us in the office. So I was hiking during the day. I was answering some phone calls from when like the field would call me. But when I say I wasn't really doing much, I got to like breathe. And
Right.
what happened was when I had to come back into the day to day of working, being a special agent, all that, I realized how burnt out I was before the pandemic hit. So I
Mm.
was go go all day, all night, answering phone calls from the prosecutor, writing affidavit, doing all this stuff like nonstop for 10 years. For
Yeah.
10 years, I was
Yeah.
nonstop. And then when the pandemic hit, it was like
I
all I
can
had
breathe.
to do was just take care of myself. Yeah, I was like, I could
Right.
breathe. This is
Yeah.
amazing. But
Yeah.
I didn't realize it until I had to come back. And I still didn't realize it. Everything was very triggering. I was just not like I was not doing well. Like I everything bothered me. Um but at the same time, now I have my business, it's moving, it's grooving, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing. And I was like, you know what? I just leave. And I remember telling my
Right.
supervisor, I think I think I'm done. And no one leaves this job. No one
No one
leaves
leaves
this
this job.
career.
Wow. Okay.
No one.
Wow.
Yes, no one
Okay.
leaves. You
Okay.
finish. And my supervisor was a black guy, and he is an integral part of this whole story. And he was only my supervisor for like a blip, but
Right.
like a few months. But he was like, Steph, like don't do that. Like, what do we need to do? And they actually moved me. Long story short, that was a year and a half after I actually left. And it was I took
Oh,
that like I really didn't want to leave. When I say that was my dream career, it was my dream career since middle school.
really?
And
Okay. Yeah.
I left honestly because I could no longer be of service in the way that I
Mm,
wanted to be if I
right.
continued to stay. So I left. It wasn't honestly, like my reasoning for leaving my career wasn't the business, but it was like the pull of the business. So
Right.
this is what I warn my clients about. This will happen to you when you start walking in your purpose. Because when I tell you that was my dream career, there was nothing wrong until I started moving inside of my real purpose, my real passion, because I loved what I did. But I started to move in that, and literally the shedding was happening. Like
Right.
we're moving this out of the way. So I'm thankful for being able to transition out in the way that I did. But it wasn't it was more of a, like, what's going on? Like, why can't I do this work type of, like, I didn't understand, but it was more of like shedding. And now in regards to like finance is something that um, what I want to do for my clients is to show them how to set themselves up for success while they're still working the job. Cause I could have
Right.
stayed.
Right.
It wasn't the time, like, I a business, with that time, but I just, I didn't want to be a public servant who
Right.
I didn't want to resent my job. And
Right.
that was coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
And you can
definitely.
see when people resent their jobs, right? Yeah. Yeah.
I saw it at that job. There definitely was a lot of resentment once you get closer to retirement. I didn't want to be
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
person.
This is Shades and Layers. My guest today is Stefanie Julia, aka the Fitness Challenge Lady. Her companies Catch Flights and Fitness, as well as Profitable Passion and Purpose P3, have changed the lives of many frequent travelers and aspiring online fitness and wellness entrepreneurs. Up next, she talks about the role of mindset and self-care on your entrepreneurial journey. And we also hear how she's using these and other tools for her current transition from solopreneur to organizational leader. So how do you advise your clients to navigate full-time work with a side hustle?
Ooh, it's tough. It's tough for everybody. I don't believe in the just do XYZ and it's going to be simple and fast. The fastest way is by getting a blueprint. So now if they're my client, they have a blueprint. They know exactly what to do step by step, and all you got to do is work on the mind trash along the way. You don't have to like search, right? Like, because that's why I'm like, that's the hard That's the hard part. I could give you literally what to do today, tomorrow, all the way through whatever your goal is. However, you need support for the mind trash. And this is okay, so
Right.
this is just came this is on my spirit to say, so I'm gonna say it. Is when we get like free resources, when we're out there, like we're looking at the YouTube University, which is so me back in the day. If you going on YouTube University, like, what are you doing to take care of yourself when that mind trash comes up? Like, what support system do you have in place when the hard things happen? And that's something that, like, I try to encourage my clients is it's going to happen. Like, it's going to be tough. You're literally working two jobs. The side hustles, if you really love it, is very rarely side hustle energy and time, right? Like, you could go and work at a bank as a side income or something like that, or like work security as like side income, but your business isn't going to be that, like, it's not a mind numbing work. Right? So you're putting like a lot of you inside of this quote unquote side hustle. So just know that as long as you have a blueprint and you follow it and you have a support system with you to help with any tweaks because your time is limited, or with focused action steps when your time is limited, you're golden, and you just got to sit back and trust the process. Now, for those who don't have that, I'm going to encourage you to go get that. But if you don't have that, you can still do it yourself. You just got to be aware that what your blueprint looks like isn't going to look like the full-time entrepreneur,
Right.
right? Like you can't move in the same way, and don't expect yourself to. Don't beat yourself up for not having the same success. Because even if you throw in family too on top of that, like it's just we got to be realistic about
Right.
the growth of our businesses.
Yeah. And what are some of the lessons you learned while you were combining your fitness business together with your full-time job?
I had a very powerful, in my opinion, morning routine that started around the pandemic, right? Like I did a lot of
Mm-hmm.
self-care work during that time. Um, and I honestly believe that business growth is like a roller coaster, like those dips when those fears and doubts start coming up. I attribute my continued growth and my continued success and my continued action and not just giving up and throwing in the towel to my morning routine. So every morning I wrote down well, this has evolved over time, so I'll give you the evolution version. Morning, writing a couple things of gratitude. What am I really like? Jotting down some wins. Like, what am I proud of myself for accomplishing either that day or over the past week? Goals, like my goal for the day. And then I had a manifestation strategy from Project 369, where I would write down my affirmation, my goal
Mm-hmm.
affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say it's I'm gonna give you this. This is one of my it's not a new one, it's a very old one, but it's one that's I'm starting to speak more out loud. And it's 3 goal affirmations, 6 goal affirmations in the afternoon, and then 9 in the evening. And let's say your goal is I am a residual $1 million income earner. You write that 3 times in the beginning of the day, 3 times in the afternoon, and then 3 times in the evening. And that could be your morning routine, at least the front part of it. And then writing down some action steps to help you get there, and then practicing visualization. It can be so powerful. Yeah, I really do attribute my morning routine to
Mm.
the strength of my mindset as I was going through the realizing the burnout, addressing the burnout, and modifying my time to make sure that I was still like enjoying life, because I do travel a lot. Over the
Okay.
past 6 years, I've traveled every single month except for 1 month. I missed one, and I'm a little butthurt about that. But every single month, so I don't have a lot of time, But as a online an online coach, it makes it a little bit easier. I have more of a flexible schedule, but you still had to get on sales calls, right? Like I'm working full time.
Right.
Where are the sales calls going? So I just made sure to affect my schedule and prioritize the growth of my business. And I brought my self care to the beginning of the day. So it
Okay.
did it there was no skipping out because I had a sales call in the afternoon or I wanted to go out with my friends in the evening. My mind and my uh self care was always at the start of the day. And still to this day it is. I don't know how anybody does anything different successfully.
Would you say you're a digital nomad in that case?
I probably could use that title with how much I move around.
Okay.
I did have a stint at Digital Nomad. I spent two
Oh, really?
months. I
Okay.
was
Yeah.
in Puerto Rico and Tulum, and the Tulum, well, both was just a magical experience. I can't wait to go back to Tulum. I haven't been back since then, but that was beautiful. I love the concept. I don't think I've ever done it intentionally.
Right. It's just the way things
I just
worked
move
out for
around a lot.
you.
Yeah, and I will say something that I say a lot is like I always want to have a home base, because
Mm.
that was actually how I ended up or ended that trip early, because I didn't have a home base. I was in between apartments, so I was like, I'm gonna before I get signing another lease, I'm gonna go travel a bit.
Mm.
But it messed with me a little bit to not feel like I had a home base.
Right.
So I
Right.
something that I always want to have. Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay, great. So now how are you structured? Are you still a solopreneur, or do you have a team that you use for, managing all these various tasks that it takes to run a business?
So I'm in transition mode to from one to the other, because I do believe it is impossible. And I'm sure maybe there's some people that have successfully done it, but I want to stand on this and say it is impossible to grow to where I want to grow by myself.
Right.
I right now have a team of contractors,
Hmm.
um, but that help me with the parts of my business that I don't really care for or are just super time consuming for me. And I do love, when you're first starting out, getting that team, so that you can serve your clients, which is what we got into this business for anyway, right?
Hmm.
But now I want to build a company
Hmm.
where there's a leadership team, and I'm helping to really like move things along. That's the transition that I'm moving in. So
Right.
I don't know, by the time this airs, maybe I already have my first employee, but that's what I'm working on next, is starting to hire teammates really, in
Fantastic.
growing this business to where I want it to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
And, your ideal leadership team, what kind of values would they embody? What would they be like? What are you dreaming of?
This is good. I almost feel like this is a coaching session now because I do skip this one. My core values, let's see if I can remember all five. It's really like passion and excitement. Luxury is one of my top values.
Hmm.
I know it's like
Hmm.
it feels
Hmm.
almost a little special, but like moving fast. I like to grow fast. Mindset work. Really understanding like in order to be successful at anything, you got to take care of the emotional body. um, I know there's a fifth one and I can't remember what it is.
No, no problem.
I'm
No
so
problem.
sorry. I'm gonna have
No, no problem. It's just, I'm just
you
always
like
interested in, the kind
which
of companies that people want to build, and, what they would look like, because I mean, it's inspiring for other people to hear these stories, right? So that's why I asked the
absolutely.
question. Yeah. Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of the values that a lot of the values have to do with not just the success that I had, like what pushed me along, but also, the parts that almost took me out, and what can
Mm-hmm.
I do to show others how to mitigate those situations, because
Right.
they have
Right.
like I've been a victim of lifing plenty of times. But now, after going through those experiences, I'm like, oh, okay, I understand why I had to go through that so that I can do set this up for next time, as well as teach others how to set it
How?
up in their businesses.
Right. Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the fitness industry in general,
Mhm.
particularly the online fitness space. Now, there is a representation problem, and
Yeah,
it's quite. But things have changed. So, so if you
it's
can talk me
changing.
through, like, what are you observing in terms of your on the representation front? Is there more variety? What are you seeing? Or, it's just too slow to even notice anything?
So there's a statistic that shocked me when I heard it, and I'll share why. So there's only 10% of the health and wellness industry are comprised of Black women, the leaders inside the health
Wow.
and wellness.
Yeah. That's pretty
And I
low.
was like, really? And I'm not gonna lie, it's what you see is what you curate. So like my Instagram, my Facebook is curated to be Black AF. Okay. Like it's what I love to see. I love to see us winning. I love to see us supporting each other. I want to support them. So it is, I think I walked in an assumption that we were in there, we were doing our thing. But we're not doing it on the level that is at the same level as our education and experience. And there's so much to be said there. There is, and I keep calling it mind trash, but there's like systemic mind trash that
for
we have
sure.
to deal with, right? That we have to overcome. That other people get to, like they were just raised to believe in themselves that way, believe in their value. So yeah, there's more than just representation, like seeing our faces, but also seeing our faces and winning, achieving new levels of success, however way you define it. Everybody defines success differently, but like achieving that success and show it off. I still get people in my DMs that are like, I really just wanted to meet you because I don't see Black women business coaches. And I'm like, really? Because I'm surrounded by them. Right. Yeah. And I curate my field to be like that. But it's really powerful to make sure that we're being of service in that way too, by just showing up for others who don't have the same experiences that we do.
Sure. A thought just occurred to me. I mean, it obviously has to do with who owns media, right? Because there's a little bit of a contradiction, because you can't have someone like Sha'Carri Richardson coming out and winning Olympics if there is no fitness in the Black community or other communities of color, right? I mean, there's like there's a mismatch. I don't know what your thoughts on that are. But to me, I think there's a mismatch to what you see on an elite level compared to what you see in the mainstream.
That is so deep. I got chills. I've never thought about it that way, honestly. But I used to say this in different like Facebook groups where they were shocked at how much online fitness coaches make. And it's really us that are shocked by the numbers. But I was taught by I'll just be blunt and straight with you, child. I was taught by a white woman taught me how to create my online fitness coaching program. I attribute so much to her. But she taught me how to create it and launch it. And she also told me how much online fitness coaches were making since 2019. They were creating packages for $1,500 for 12 weeks. And I was like,
oh, come on.
But like,
what am I doing with my life?
I was like, one more time. But I was just like, what? It like blown away. And now when I told and this was 2019. So I'm like, now we're in 2023 and I don't know what the industry standard is now. I honestly think now that I've cracked my mind, I've seen different things. It's so vast. Like I know a fitness coach who charges $6,000 for their program. Right. I also know a fitness coach that charges $750 for a fitness coaching program. But like we are now breaking into this industry that was almost like I feel like was walled off to us because you don't know what you don't know. And honestly, I'm like, nah, sis, you paid how much for your education? You spent how many hours in the gym training people? You also went through hell and back in your own fitness journey to achieve the success for yourself, which in my opinion is way harder than teaching someone. It's much harder to live in it in yourself. I could go on this topic for so long, but it's frustrating because even when I'm working with my clients, again, that mind trash of asking for the sale, pitching, saying your value, and then, I always tell them, like, you gotta be able to say your price on the call. So don't be charging $6,000 if you can't even say 2,000 out loud. Like, let's baby step our way there, but
Right.
we're getting there 100%. I get to be front and center and watch us, grow in this industry. And it's so powerful, even for those who look like me, not even just like being a Black woman, but I've been on my fitness journey for some time. And even as fitness coaches, when you gain weight, right? Like, we're building a business, there's stressors of, you start to lose that 6-pack. And it's like, oh, I can't post until my 6-pack comes back. And I'm like, oh, this is what's dope about the online space. We get to be vulnerable, we get to be real, we get to be intentional, and we get to tell our story and connect with our audiences. And all around powerful and needed.
Hey there, before we continue with the episode, I have a favor to ask. Please give Shades and Layers a rating and review on your favorite podcast listening app so that others can find us and we can continue to bring you this wonderful work. 5 stars would be excellent. Thank you. And now back to the episode. This is Shades and Layers. My guest today is Stefanie Julia Moton, a business coach for online fitness entrepreneurs and founder of Catching Flights and Fitness, as well as P3. As always, this is the part where we go into our guest's backstory and we also do a quick round of Shades and Layers rapid fire. So here we go. Let's talk about you. And you already mentioned that, being working for Homeland Security was one of your career dreams since high school. So back then, what were the other things that you were dreaming about? The very influential moments in your life that still stand out to this day and have kind of informed how you turned out and carry yourself in the world.
So the moment that, it's not even a moment, it's a series of statements. It's one statement that I said to myself over and over again, and I actually don't remember where it came from. But so my last name on social media is Julia, which is actually my middle name. It's not like I'm trying to hide my last name. Mm-hmm. Well, when I was working for Homeland Security Investigations, I was. But now everybody knows me as Stefanie Julia, so that's it. But my real last name is Moton. And I used to say growing up, I'm a Moton. Everything I touch turns to gold. Ooh. And I was so serious about it. Like, imagine this little kid everything I touch turns to gold. I'm a Moton. And I was just like, that, like, nailed, like, yes, I need that energy. Come back, little Steph. Like, what?
Right.
But it's translated into the confidence that I need in order to be of service in the way that I want to be of service. Because, like, as I'm growing my business, as I'm expanding and stretching, I go through the same things that my clients go through. I have the same mind trash. I'm just that, it might be at a different level, but the practices that I've made now need to be strengthened as I grow. Right? Mm-hmm. We're just learning layers. Yeah. So that was my very first layer, and it was a very powerful one. And it's something that I remind myself of a lot more lately these days.
Perfect. And then if you had to sum up your life in a written memoir, what would it be called and why?
So I didn't think about the whole life, but always a VIP.
Oh yeah.
That's literally, yes, that's the title that I'm living right now. And if I was to, even bring it back to like past experiences, it would just be a reminder, like, hey, you're always a VIP, right? And then I'll be like, you're right. But now more like in 2023, I've been stepping into that vibe left and right, and it's a powerful vibe to walk in. That's all I say.
Yeah. And if you had to turn that memoir into a movie, who would you pick for the lead actress?
Jill Scott.
Yeah, of course. Oh, that smile. I see it. Yes. Oh, yeah. Everything.
That's
The
my
curls. Yeah, yeah.
yes, yes, yes. That's my girl,
Ah,
100%.
yeah. Excellent, excellent. And if you had to invite one famous Black woman, living or dead, to dinner tonight, who would it be?
So I bounce back on two people, but they both mean the same to me. So Madam C.J. Walker,
Mm-hmm.
the first woman to become a millionaire who just happens to also be a Black woman as well. Um, and then the person who made me really understand what she did for us and what, like, I almost feel like I was introduced to studying her. She's her name's Rachel Rogers, and
Mm-hmm.
she wrote the book We Should All Be Millionaires.
Ah, yeah.
So I
Yeah.
know he said one person, but I'm like, if I could put
It's
them
hard to
into
choose.
one spirit,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, that's who I would. I'd be like, can I just have all y'all here to sit down with me? Thank you.
Excellent. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Yeah. I like this. I like this. So, if people want to be your client, where can they find you?
Um, they can always find my. I always say my DMs are always open on Instagram. You can go to the Stefanie Julia, Stefanie with an F, and hit me up on Instagram. Please let me know that you heard me on Shades and Layers. And then you can go to growyouronlinefitbiz.com/podcast. On there, I have a free training that goes through the blueprint, the steps on how I created Catch Flights in Fitness, launched it, and did 15K my first launch. I outline those steps in that training.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Thank you so much for this and for your generous spirit. I'm sure great things are yet to come. And also, I have to wish you congratulations on going solo.
Thank you so much. I will never get old or never get tired of hearing that, okay?
And that is all from me this time around. Thank you, Stefanie, for being so generous with your story. Wishing you all the best and looking forward to seeing what you do next. Thank you also for listening. I've linked to Stefanie's socials in the show notes, so do take a moment to check them out. And also, if you liked this episode, please share it with a friend. I'm Kutluanos Kosana Richie, and until next time, please do take good care.